James Woodford is my name. I am an airline pilot and entrepreneur. I had everything. A loving family, significant wealth, and all the benefits that come with it. But none of this satisfied the emptiness I felt in my heart. I'm always yearning for more. Then I passed away. I was declared clinically dead in April 2014, but that wasn't the end of the story. For 11 hours, this self-proclaimed God-mocker witnessed the splendors of heaven, the horrors of hell, and the breathtaking realities of the unseen world. My amazing transformative journey through eternity will provide you with hope and strength in your own life. I've never been religious. When it came to God and faith, I was conflicted. But as I lay in the hospital bed for more than 11 hours, clinically dead, my consciousness was transported to the wonders of heaven and the horrors of hell. When I returned to this world, I brought the missing piece of my soul's longing. I suppose, like everyone else, I gradually hoped that someone was in charge of the chaos. So I wasn't an atheist, but I wasn't a true believer either. So it was late afternoon, the sun was setting, and I drove to this location. And I parked the truck, not on purpose, but because I was facing the setting sun. I had no idea that the sun was setting on the day and on my life. I was trying to summon the energy to get out of the truck because I was feeling so sick. And I had some more medication stashed away, and I realized I'd already taken more for the day. But, pain is a terrible thing because it drives you insane. And all I wanted was relief. So I took some more and sat back, waiting for that to happen. And instead of the nice, warm relief of the ache in every bone of my body, my feet were suddenly on fire. And I remember looking down at the truck's floor and wondering, why is there a fire in the truck? It quickly spread up my legs from my fingertips inboard and seized my lungs. And you know when you're going to die. My lungs were collapsing and I felt like I was drowning. And I kept raising my head in an attempt to breathe. And then, in that last instant, as someone who had never prayed since I was a child, I uttered 3 words that changed everything. I became instantly aware of all the time I had wasted, all the help I could have been to people, and all the kindness I should have shown from somewhere inside of me that I didn't even know still existed. Instead, I was completely preoccupied with my own wealth and arrogance. And I begged God to forgive me. And I recall my hand trembling as I tried to reach out to God. And I collapsed forward on the steering wheel. Yeah. I'm not sure how long I was asleep behind the wheel, but I remember waking up. The first thing I noticed was that I was not in any pain. This was the thing that had ruled my life for the previous 4 years. I felt no discomfort. It was as if I'd removed a heavy, wet overcoat and the pain with it. I slid from the truck. I walk about 15 feet away and feel fantastic. It's an April evening in the spring. The birds can be heard. I can already smell the grass. And for the first time in my life, I'm not in pain. I look down at my feet and it's as if I can see right through them. And of course I rationalized it and said, wow. So I'm just standing there, absorbed in the sensation of being healthy once more. And I turn to look at my truck and I'm filled with rage because someone is in it. Not only that, but he's dozing off behind the wheel. So I go over there and do what guys do, telling him I didn't appreciate it. That's how it felt if you've ever had a dream where something is chasing you and you can't move your feet. But I managed to winch a little closer, and I look up, and words fail me to describe the moment I look into the truck and realize the body leaned over the wheel is not a stranger. It's me. And I know it's me because my head is turned this way on the steering wheel and blood is gushing from my mouth. But in my arrogance and belief in my ability to fix, fly, and do anything, I reasoned that if I could just get over there and back into my body, everything would be fine. I had no idea it was wrong. I began to rise abruptly and I'm floating upwards looking down at the truck. I could see my body through the truck's rear window and I got. And as a pilot, I'm very aware of altitude, so I get up there and tilt my head back. This stunning golden circle, 60 feet in diameter, appears in the sky like a massive wedding ring. The center fills with gold, which then swings back. Then it was as if I had hit all of the thrusters on the jets on the planes I used to fly. I flew through that tunnel of light at breakneck speed. I'd heard the term tunnel of light before, and I'm sure most people have, but that's exactly what it was. It's a passageway to another location. And it was sometimes almost instantaneous. I went over it. The strangest thing was that when you were going fast, you could hear the speed of the wind, feel the wind on your face, and then nothing, just silence. I come to a mist-covered door, a door or a portal, and I lift. I know I don't have much of a choice because the tunnel is closing in on me. So I step through, and it's misty, and I can't see anything, but when I look down at my feet, the mist begins to clear, and I can't believe it. I'm standing on the most incredible, beautiful green grass I've ever seen, with each blade glowing brightly. And now I understand what they mean when they say, the grass is always greener on the other side. They're discussing heaven, and I look up, and the mist lifts, revealing my first glimpse of paradise. However, there is something intriguing. On the right, there's this lovely field with flowers and mist and a beautiful blue sky, but no sun. As a pilot, that's the first thing I look for to get oriented. Am I in the northwest? Am I in the southeast? And I'm on the lookout for the sun. And as I moved my gaze to the left, the beautiful green grass turned scorched brown, scorched black, and dropped into a crevasse. I've always been a curious person. I couldn't get past the contrast between the two vistas. So I carefully walked over and looked down this pit, and the walls were like black anthracite coal and slick. And as I look, there's a dim flicker of red light, similar to a campfire in the distance on a summer night, but it's growing larger. Then I heard something strange. 2 large doors creaking open on hinges that hadn't been oiled in a long time. And the flame grew along with it. Looking down, the doors were sideways and the flame intensified. And then, to my surprise, I saw something massive emerge from this. It was a creature that Hollywood could never match. Large, disgusting-looking creature with a body of fire and smoke. And it resembled a hyena in appearance. And it was obviously sniffing and looking for something. But then I noticed it pause and then return its gaze to me. The hatred in that creature's eyes for anything to do with me or humanity was palpable. It was the smell of despair combined with the stench of death and decay that emanated from that pit. Then it started climbing up the walls toward me, which really sparked my interest. And for such a large creature, it was quite agile and quick. It stood in front of me, snarling like a hyena. I mean, the old pastors weren't entirely wrong. We now laugh at them because, well, how bad can it be? Folks, let me tell you something. You're not going to like what I saw. No, you don't. And Hollywood couldn't match it. It was drooling as well as slobbering. I could hear its drool hitting and slapping the ground. But the worst part was hearing my name called. This creature recognized me. But I'm trying to justify myself. I wasn't such a bad guy. I didn't believe I was. I did not murder anyone. Nobody was robbed by me. I did not cause any harm to anyone. But I wasn't as generous unless I received a tax receipt. And so and then my name being called Jim, we are here for you. This is your opportunity to spend time with us. Then something strange happened. But here's the sick part. I heard screaming. The screams were coming from within this creature's body. It was as if it had devoured souls and they screamed for release. This is the nature of hell. This isn't a fairy tale. And it emerged from the pit and I staggered backwards, turning my back on it to keep my sanity. And then I felt a claw run down my back. It's trying to call my name the whole time. And I honestly believe that if I had turned around, that would have been accepted and I would have been taken. Instead, recall the 3 words I yelled, "Please forgive me, please forgive me." And the following 3 were truly magical. I turned toward the beautiful vista to my right and lifted both my hands in prayer, pleading with God to help me. Please assist me. I ignored him and expected nothing in return. He gave everything to me. 3 points of light appear in the sky at once. They form as I rush toward them, and I realize they're angels. I turned in time to see the light strike the demon as it passed over me and behind me. When it did, it shrieked, screamed, and scrambled back into the pit. So when the demons scramble back down the pit, they come right up to me, and I realize I'm looking at 3 magnificent God-created creatures. Something I assumed was a Christmas card legend. They're approaching me, and the first one is about 10 feet tall. The one after that is about 13 feet tall, and the one after that is about 15 feet tall, built and dressed like a warrior. And they approached me, and the strange thing is that people say, "You say he or she." It's because they have a combination of a woman's gentleness and determination that I don't. But a man's physical strength, but to me, they were the best of all of us, but not us. So they came right up to me, and I later discovered that the first one to approach me was my guardian angel. Now that poor angel had had a terrible tour of duty, but he came right up to me, and I'm looking up into those violet eyes, beautiful, beautiful eyes, not unlike yours, and violet eyes and silver hair, 2 spires of golden light. Wings were not visible in the traditional feathers. It was more of a light, and they counted inwards to create this halo of gold over their silver hair, which I believe inspired the term halo. It is not. It is a refraction of light. Anyway, an arm wraps around me, and then a huge wing wraps around me and gathers me, and there I am, cuddling up to an angel's chest. Being hugged by a God-sent angel is like being hugged by 50 grandmothers all at once. So the other 2 came forward and bowed to me, and it was more than just a bow of introduction. It was a reverent bow, and I was immediately taken aback. Why would you bow to me? I'm a man, the lowest of the low. And my guardian said to me, "James, do you not realize that when we look at mankind, we see our master's light within you?" Wow. And that is the central theme of this book. And the reason I write is to constantly remind people of the light. And we've talked a lot about light today. The light that resides within each of you, that is God's priceless light. It is up to us to make that light shine. What's more, guess what? The more you do kindness, the more you help people, the gentler you are with people, the brighter that light shines and the more people notice it. They don't see it as physically as I do, but they notice something different about you. And there's something unique about you. You have everything at your disposal because you carry God's image within you. And then I get to heaven and imagine the creator of the universe knowing what each and every one of you loved as a little girl. What was most important to you was that happy moment. That's all there is to it. As a result, when he sees you in heaven, he places things in front of you. That reminds you that you've returned home and are once again his child. So I smelled tapioca when the angels hugged me in heaven. And I keep telling people that I'm not here to establish the Holy Tapioca Church. We come to a fence and the guardian says, "James, look," and he raises his hand, and 3 of the most magnificent horses appear around this clump of trees. By the way, my wife and I met on horseback. As a result, horses are deeply ingrained in our souls. But they came right up to the fence and I put my hand through into the coat of the horse's neck stroke. They were incredible, and my hand went straight into the body of this being of light. When I drew my hand back, the most amazing thing happened. The light of the animal's body, the horse's body, clung to my hand for about 10 inches, then let go and returned to its body. And I call that God's sticky love. God's love is drawn to you. It desires your return. Nobody likes to think about death, but there are times when we have no choice.